Make a Path presents Let's Talk. The Walking Dead comic, issue 136. Alright Deadheads, for your viewing pleasure and just to test it out, I decided to read the comic for the first time on camera. I'm looking in the wrong spot. Let's check it out. Carl, you need to pump your brakes, bro. I know he's young and all, but bitches be lying. As you guys know, we recently started reviewing the Walking Dead comics on this channel. We started with the previous issue, which was 135, and I am proud to announce we had 2,467 views, 128 comments, 127 likes, and one little dislike, which I have to say, for a first time out, awesome stats. With that previous issue and what we're going to do from here on out, I am going to ask, what is your one word to describe this issue after you read it? Previous issue, which was 135, we had amazing, infuriating, suspenseful, awesome, change, great foreshadowing, some curses, uncertain, eager, damn, astonishing, anxious, good, and intriguing. If you guys want to see what all those are about, check out the comments in that video. Right here, issue 135. Check out that review, links down below. In keeping with tradition, we're going to do that from now on. So as a viewer, down below in the comments section, what is your one word to describe issue 136? And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you guys my one word to sum up this issue. Right off the bat, I do want to compliment Robert Kirkman's writing style. As you guys know, keeping up with this channel, I 100% believe that being on the TV show and being a part of that writing process, I truly believe it actually made Robert Kirkman's writing better. I mean, a lot better. His writing wasn't shit before and it's good now. His writing was always good. But now it seems like he's crafted this ability to not water something down and, drag it out, but to leave us with multiple stories happening and intertwining them in ways that we don't even see coming. Like the Lydia story and Carl being in the jail cell. I talked about that previously. But in this one comic, in just 22 pages, we cover Gregory's assassination attempts. Marco is not crazy. Lydia and Carl are getting closer, which I feel is the biggest development in this issue. Sophia wakes up, Carl is released from jail, Jesus is in a love triangle of sorts, the Whisperers find the hilltop, Magna and Andrea might be developing a friendship and they're working in the garden, Rick returns to the Alexandria safe zone, the White Trashers change their mind and decide to kill off Maggie, but up the ante and put Carl on the proverbial chopping block as well. And probably one of the biggest, the Hat has returned. I think all of those little subtle stories, given it wasn't so much possible to do all these little intricate stories when we were at the prison or when we were in a group out surviving. So Alexandria, the hilltop, the sanctuary, the kingdom, the Whisperers even. I mean, we're going to tack them on, but we don't know if they're going to stick around. All of these communities are giving an opportunity for Kirkman to put little stories happening, 7 little stories in one issue. Some people I talk to, they just want one story to happen and get it over with. But I love tidbits of each little story, and then down the line, the stories collide, the stories interweave, the stories connect. Some of them don't connect. Some of them connect indirectly. I mean, I love that. Because then later, when you pick for, let's say you follow the single comics, later when you pick up the volumes, you might read an entire volume or the compendium, and as you're reading them all in one shot, you can see and appreciate the story because there's not cliffhangers, you don't have to wait weeks, and that's what I feel is the best part. If Kirkman gives us this story where we have to wait a few weeks to find out what happens, and he's given us 7 or 8 different stories happening at once, then when we pick up the compendium and read it in one shot, we get this full, complete, just awesome story. If you get what I'm trying to say. I know I don't have the words. I'm not expressing it the way I want to right now, but I'm not going to ramble. I want to keep moving on. But I'm just telling you, that's what I feel is why I love it. Having the little stories. That's how I'm justifying it. Because when I pick up the compendium, the volumes, the books, whatever I might grab to reread a second time through, you could get the full, complete story with no breaks, no cliffhangers, no hesitation, and it will seem complete. Right now, it might seem incomplete. Next month, we'll get a little more, a little more, a little more. Some people might not like that. If you don't, hey, buy the books or the volumes, Now, getting into the issue. First thing first. I believe that the underlining theme in this issue is overthrowing Maggie and killing her. I find that it's actually realistic and multi-dimensional. It's human to actually reject the idea of killing Maggie and overthrowing her leadership when it's presented. When Gregory first presents the idea, I see that as multi-dimensional for the character and very realistic for human beings to reject the idea immediately. Because even though they're white trash, they're not murderers. They're like, whoa, we might gossip and bitch a little, but dial it back. You went full Shane on us. Kill the bitch? We just want to talk bad behind her back. But then later on, their anger simmers. And now they change their mind. They flip-flop. They're like, you know what? Let's kill Maggie. But then they up the ante. They want to kill Carl too. So now Maggie and Carl are on the chopping block. And like I said before, this storyline, this assassination plot, this can go in a bunch of different directions. And each direction it can possibly go in can be a huge part of the story. I mean, every single direction this could take can be a big deal in the storyline, in the Walking Dead universe. This is a big deal. Any way it plays out. And that's why I absolutely love that little storyline. That segregated storyline is so special, even though it's so small right now. If you look at it, it only incorporates, 4 pages? 3 pages out of 2 comic books. That's how small it is. But the idea is so big. No matter how it plays out, it's going to be devastating in this universe. Except if it's interrupted with the Whispers. If the Whispers plow through that community and just rain hell of walkers and violence and death and blades and blood and all that, if the Whispers come through that area and just demolish it, that storyline is gone. So the Whispers are the only thing right now in play that can completely take out that storyline. That's the way I feel anyhow. Now, Carl's talk with Lydia seems to be the main focus in this issue, even though it gets interrupted. And what I think is what is truly great about Lydia and Carl's dialogue is that there's not one big indicator that can reveal Lydia's true actual intentions. She seems genuine, she really does. Yet, knowing where she comes from and knowing her tribe, so to speak, it's really hard to believe it, because she's crazy. She's absolutely crazy. Well, she's twisted. She's not, because I believe she's completely sane. She's not crazy in our terms, you know what I mean? But in that world, yeah, she's crazy. She's a nut, but she's a functioning nutcase. But even when Carl catches her crying, a person could say, see, she's sitting there crying. She wouldn't be crying for the chance that Carl would happen upon her and be like, oh, look at that, she's genuine. She's actually crying because she lost her friend Joshua. And she says this in dialogue with Carl. She could still be a cold-blooded, ruthless killer, you know what I mean? Where if you let her go right now, she's going to stab everyone in their sleep going house to house. That's still a possibility. But she's still sad. And she's only sad because she lost her friend Joshua. See what I'm saying? It could go either way. She could be a really nice person and she's crying because she lost a friend. She could be a monster. She's crying because she lost a friend. So it's really, really difficult. You know what I mean? And the conversation between her and Carl, it's unrevealing. Put it that way, because it could be taken either way. And another big reveal with Lydia actually comes when they introduce the Whispers finding the hilltop location. The Whispers said, leader is coming. Lydia is strong, she'll last. And what I do love real quick is it's like they're primitive. Leader, you know? Him, leader, he coming. You know what I'm saying? So there's no fancy name for him like the governor. It's just leader. It's simple, it's primitive. I love it. You know what I mean? I can already picture the toy now. Leader. But anyway, so the Whispers reveal that Lydia is strong. And again, at first I thought, oh, look at that. Look at that. They're saying she's strong. She's a conditional Trojan horse. But still, you can take it meaning 2 different things. Like, Lydia is strong. She can last against these enemy forces. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're not the bad guys. Just because they're messed up and their technique of survival is just batshit crazy doesn't mean they're the enemy right away. Although I think they're the enemy, I feel like they would make a great enemy. So again, it could go either way for Lydia. And with Lydia's conversation, she's scared for her life. Now, I don't believe she's faking that. I think she's legitimately scared for her life. But monsters get scared. You know what I'm saying? Killers get scared. She could be using being scared as a tool to deceive Carl. And to add to the dialogue being revealing, she did reveal one small, teeny tiny detail about the Whispers. They are a mobile tribe. They keep moving. If she's being honest, which she probably is, I don't know why you would lie about that, but they keep moving. You know what I mean? They don't have a stationary camp. They might have a little one or a few little ones. She might be lying about that. Now that I'm thinking about that, yeah, you wouldn't reveal that you have a camp situated here, because if these people are bad, they can go and attack that camp and kill your family, your loved ones, your friends, you know what I mean? But another interesting thing is what Jesus said. They were in different spots. There just was not enough time for the Whispers to get from here to here, especially the way they're traveling. So they have to be broken up, which leads me to wonder, why are they split up? What do they do this for? Do they have a main base and they go scavenging? I mean, like, how do they live and why? Why do they live this way? These are questions I'm wondering about the Whispers. You know what I mean? If they keep moving, what are they moving towards? Are they just living? You know, that now that's their life? They just live amongst the walkers? And hopefully those questions get answered soon. Again, the leader of the Whispers, it looks like the leader is appearing on the issue cover of 138. So I cannot wait for that issue. Again, they might reveal the leader, which I think they will reveal the leader in issue 137, and 138 leads into something with the Whispers. Now about Carl for a moment. Within Carl's dialogue, not just to Lydia, but to Earl at the blacksmith station. That's his name, right? Earl? Whatever. Back to his boss at the blacksmith area, even to Maggie, to Lydia, all of Carl's dialogue disproves one thing, one huge thing amongst the fans, at least I feel anyway, that Carl is crazy. A lot of Carl's dialogue is very sensible, and yet we constantly see fans calling him crazy, a psycho, lunatic, Negan. But what about Rick? Rick has done some awful shit in the name of saving his family, and the majority of the fans do not call Rick crazy. And no, Carl will not free Negan and become his friggin' sidekick. What kind of shit is that? Even in the New Beginning, Carl told Negan to his face, I want you dead. You know what I mean? I believe he said I would still kill you. Carl does not seem like the kid to be bullshitting. You know, he seems pretty upfront and brutally honest. And about the ending, for those of you who missed it, because I'll be honest, I actually missed a subtle detail in the ending, and I didn't realize it until I just coincidentally just decided to read it again to make sure. I felt like I was missing something. Something just seemed out of place. So I went back and reread it. And Carl is talking to Lydia, and she is scared to be alone. And she's talking about all that crazy crap that I find nuts, that zombies are comforting to be around, the smell and all that. Anyway, it's a good read. She goes into all that. He leaves. When we get back to him, he is talking to her about all the times he has almost died, all the danger he was in, and he starts talking about an item that he always felt comfortable with. Not believing in magic or superstition, but it comforted him. And we see Lydia's legs standing, and Carl says through the door, and I have to think, if it worked so well for me, maybe it will work for you. And the final page cliffhanger is Lydia saying thank you, putting on the hat. Used to be Rick's hat. Again, I said it, this hat has been here since issue 1. It's even on the cover issue. You get these important objects in the Walking Dead universe. You know what I mean? Like you get Tyrese and his hammer. In the TV show, you get Rick and the red machete. You get Rick and the python. You know what I mean? In the comic, you get Rick and his hatchet, which is disappeared. But you get these important objects. One of the biggest, most important object that's actually been made into the figure to display, Negan's bat, Lucille. And even though Rick nor Carl named this hat, it's still an object of importance. One of, I think, the most important objects, if you can be important, because it's been here since day one. I just think that's awesome, having an object like that. Like, this is one object that doesn't live, it's not living or breathing or whatever, it doesn't think. It's just an inanimate object. But it's been here since the very first issue. And now, in issue 136, this new character, for whatever reason, Lydia is putting it on. And I think that is a game changer. And as silly as it sounds, just because Lydia put on that hat that's been here since day one, I want a future for this character. I don't want her to be a Trojan horse and just, you know, betray them somehow, let her people in to kill people. I just don't want that now. I want Lydia in the story. I want this to have more meaning in the future. Looking back in hindsight, I want to be able to be like, man, she put on the hat and she became this. You know what I mean? Like a future Mrs. Grimes. Who cares? Because I'm totally fine with Sophia and him being like best buddies for whatever. They could be best friends. That's absolutely fine. I know some people want them to have a relationship. I mean, whatever. I'm totally fine with them being just best buds. I think that is actually a cooler idea. Having a best friend that's a female that's been there since the beginning pretty much with you. I love that idea. And then, you know, later on, Lydia can be Carl's lady. I think that's awesome. I think that's an awesome trio of characters. For the future of The Walking Dead, I would love to see Carl Grimes, Lydia, and Sophia make it somehow. to grow older. You know, I think that's just awesome. Alright, Deadheads, so finally, you've listened to me ramble on, and I'm finally going to give you my one word to describe issue 136. And that one word, refreshing. And what I mean by that is, we had the Walking Dead story, all the way up until All Out War. However, all of them seem to just be one long piece of work. And then we get a new beginning, and we get introduced to this new world. We're still being introduced to this new world, slowly but surely. Yet it wasn't until now that I got the feeling that this was a new beginning. As stupid as silly as that sounds, because even from the first issue, everything changed. Years had passed by, Negan's in jail, like the communities have prospered. It just did not feel like this new beginning until now. All these stories intertwining and everything that's going on, how valuable these stories are, because I really feel like there's some solid material here. It's refreshing knowing that this is not dwindling down. We're 130 some issues into this comic, and I do have to tell you that the story is as strong as it's ever been. You know what I mean? It's solid. Getting to this issue, I think it is a refreshingly new story. Alright, Deadheads, some of you asked if I would report anything interesting that happened in the letter hacks. And I do have to report that Robert Kirkman said something about the reappearance of Michonne, and he said, I quote, "Each time a letter writer asks where Michonne is, I push her reappearance or confirmation of her death back by 2 issues. So there you go, Robert Kirkman being a dick as usual. The next thing was Sean. Sean said, in closing, next month, something happens that a lot of you have requested. Though you folks have requested a lot of batshit things. So you're better off not jumping to conclusions. It's a good one. So again, that's Sean's way of teasing, but seeing the cover with Carl looking so badass on it right there, I don't see how any Walking Dead comic book fan will pass this issue up. No need to hype it, good sir, and go yourselves. That last part was for Kirkman, because he's a constant dick. Sean seems pretty cool. Kirkman, though, he's a dick. Oh, one more thing I did want to... I don't have it, because it is not released yet. I'm going to pin it up here. Guys, Compendium 3 finally got an announcement for a release date. Somewhere around October 2015. That is this year. That will be the next 48 issues of The Walking Dead, starting with issue, 96, I believe. So 96 on. And I do have to say, a little Walking Dead fact, the Compendium's the only Walking Dead material that has the living survivors zombified. On the bottom of every compendium, they show Rick, Michonne, Andrea, even Negan in this issue for the first time as a walker. There's no zombies in The Walking Dead. Except for in early issues, I believe Tyrese called one a zombie, but we'll let that slide. This is most likely your extended Let's Talk video on issue 136. You asked for it, and you got it. Leave your one word to describe issue 136 down below, and any other suggestions or opinions on this video or on the comic in the comments down below. I'm done talking. Finally, it's your turn. Subscribe now. I know, a comic book reader wearing glasses. Shocking, I know.